This is Jim from the Pain PT. Thank you for being here today. If you like the channel, please hit subscribe. If you like this video, please hit like. I'm really happy to have another success story here today. Malin coming from Europe. Nice to see you today, Marlon.
Thank you. It's nice being here with you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, where are you calling from? What part of the world?
I'm calling from
Listen.
Sweden in Scandinavia, north of Europe.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm happy to have you here. Like I always tell everybody who's willing to come on and share their story, it's very, very grateful and thankful for you doing this because I feel like it helps to spread the word, the message that this stuff
Absolutely.
works and people can get better. So I'm going to turn it over to you and you can share your story and I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah. Okay, I recovered from ME/CFS symptoms. I had them for more than 20 years. It started 2001. I was living in the south of Sweden, more south than I do now. And I was studying in the university, psychology and social science and things like that. And, I was 28 at the time. I was living my life. I was studying. I had my own horse. So that took a couple of hours a day. And, horses are very expensive to keep. So I had to work a lot. And then I also, worked out at the gym several times a week. I partied a lot with my friends. So it was this high intense energy, all about the physics. I didn't do any meditation or yoga or reflecting. Not at all. Not at all.
So it sounds like you were very busy at that time. You're
Very, very busy, trying not to sit still and, feel my emotions.
okay.
And my parents are still alive, and they are very caring, loving, So I always felt very loved by them. But of course, they have their attachment styles and their things going on. They are only human. So I developed this, I'm a people pleaser, and also, this really strong personality as like a superwoman, macho personality, like a strong horse girl type. I was never vulnerable at all. Always this strong person.
So
So
you didn't really express your emotions
no,
to people.
not at all, not at all. Absolutely not.
Okay.
I was this kind of, um, happy, liveful person style. I did not like at all to be vulnerable or show my emotions. No,
So
no.
happiness was your only emotion, was like trying to
Uh,
exude some kind of, like you said, a strong
yeah,
happiness, like always like a upbeat
yeah,
energy.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely correct. So of course I was. This was 2001, so of course I was in this high alert state already, but I had no clue because this was my normal state. So a lot was going on in my life. I was young, and then I fell off a horse and broke my leg, and it was a complicated fracture. So I had to go through like 7 or 8 operations, and I also had an infection. So I had to be on antibiotics for 1 year and a lot of painkillers. So of course this was stressful for my nervous system or for the whole system, of course. But after a year or so, I was back in life again. I finished up my studies and I was working. Life was doing okay. But then every time I worked out at the gym, I started to, every time I got a cold. So I got a sore throat and, a little bit tired. I could still work, but, after 1 or 2 weeks, I was back at the gym and the same things happened all over again.
So you went
Uh,
back, once you recovered, you went back to your normal life as you were doing before.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Uh, so it started very slow. So for me, it was not like it all happened for over one night. Absolutely not. It um, developed for years. I had this for 20 years, so it was very slow in the beginning. I had this cold all the time, and then I started to get pain in the sinuses here and headaches. And every time I tried to raise the pulse, I got dizziness and, things like that. But apart from that, my life went on. I managed my life. I was working full time.
So did you
Uh,
just those symptoms you just mentioned at that time, did you just ignore them and just carry on?
no, I tried to figure out what it was. So of course I went to doctors and, I really tried to find out what's going on. And I also developed this irritable bowel syndrome because of all the antibiotics. So I went to this dietist and she was helping me out. So I removed some, gluten or things like that. And that got a little bit better. So I did small things, but no one found anything. All the tests was always clear, of course. So I just tried to move on with life. And the years went by, and I got more symptoms over the time. But there were no severe. I didn't have so much fatigue at this time. It was more like this symptoms, like I was feeling more like if you have a cold all the time, or the days before you get a flu or something like that.
Hmm.
And then 2007, I had my daughter, my first child, and she was easygoing child. So and I was home with her, of course. So at the time I worked in the Swedish force with human resources, and I never felt safe there because my nervous system didn't like the environment. So I felt unsafe, and I didn't really enjoy my work. I had wonderful colleagues, but no, it was not so good for me, that place. So I got some relief from being home with my daughter because I didn't have to be every day in this workplace with all the stress. And yeah, I was feeling quite good, but I couldn't work out, and I had these symptoms going on. But I took long walks every day with her. We also had a dog at the time. And every morning I took a long walk in highly terrain, but I never improved my condition, and that was kind of weird, I thought. So it was things like that.
So you
Like
got
this,
a little bit better just by not working, but you weren't really making a lot of progress. Even though you were walking more, doing more, you
no,
still weren't feeling that much better.
no. Uh, so, and 2 years after that, I had my second child, my son. And that was a totally different story because that pregnant, I was very tired. I had low blood pressure, and I could hardly walk at all. And of course, I also had my daughter to take care of. She was only 2 at the time. No, she was only 1 when I was pregnant, and when I had him, she was 2. So of course, I was really tired. And I thought that was normal because, nothing strange with that. But then when he came, he didn't sleep much at all. He woke up every other hour for like 2 years. And at the time, I was feeling really alone in my relationship. I was feeling abandoned, and I didn't feel any trust. And so I had a lot of stress going on inside. And now I know that's why he didn't sleep, because he really felt I was in a high stress state, you know.
Hmm. So this
But I
time
didn't.
you were you were being a mother to the children, you were home, weren't working, but your relationship was not doing great. So that was creating a lot of stress for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I know that, but I didn't know that at the time, because, you know, I was just trying to survive. But now my body really collapsed. It went from doing, you know, managing to not working good at all. So my daughter went to kindergarten after a while. And that was really near from my home, only 5 minutes, but sometimes I couldn't, you know, I had to call my parents to take her, because I couldn't get out. My legs were really stiff and heavy and painful. You know, all my body was really felt so heavy all the time, and I started to get more and more fatigue, and I didn't get so much sleep. So I mean, that's not, of course. But I started to develop more and more this, you know, this shutdown feeling.
Mhm.
So I think this time in my life, I really felt I didn't feel good at all, and emotionally I was really stressed out also.
Did that
Uh,
feeling, that energy in you, that shutdown mode, the
yeah.
fatigue, did it affect, did you carry on still normally, or did it start affecting you more now in terms of your day-to-day living?
Uh, Sorry, what did you say?
Did that fatigue start to affect you more in your
Huh?
life, like in terms of what you could do or what you're able to cope with, or were
Yeah.
you still coping with everything?
No, I was not doing it. I was not coping so good. So no, not really. You know, I had to do things. I had to take care of my children and things like that. But thank God my parents lived really near, so they had to help me sometimes. And you know, it was like I was turning inside. I was like in this bubble, you know. I didn't laugh anymore. Um, you know, I was in this bubble all the time with myself. And I didn't speak so much anymore. I was so tired all the time, and of course scared. And now I really tried to figure out what the heck was going on with me. And 2010, I got diagnosed ME/CFS. But I mean, that didn't help me at all, of course, because they couldn't do anything for me. They told me that we don't know what this is, so we have to, uh, you know, cope with it. Just
So you were still looking for answers. Nobody could find anything. All the testing came out okay.
yeah,
They finally gave you that diagnosis. And
yeah.
when you got that diagnosis, then what happened? Did that affect you to get that diagnosis, or how did you
You
feel?
know, I already suspected that I had ME, but the only reason I wanted to diagnose, if you know, if they maybe they will find something, then I wanted to have this diagnosed so I could be part of some test, or you know, some medicine or whatever. uh,
Right.
so they didn't know, but yeah. So this was 2000. I mean, oh my God, I did all the treatments, you know, all the holistic treatments, supplements, you know, diets, all sorts of things over time. And I
How many years did you spend doing other treatments, would you say, after you got the
I
diagnosis?
started really early, actually. I started really early, so for 15 years or something. I mean, so much money and time and energy doing this treatment. But years went on. In 2014, we moved to the countryside in the south of Sweden, and that was uh, that was good and that was bad for me. But the good side was that I love the nature. I love living in the nature. So I got some relief from that. You know, just have the nature outside the door, so I could be out a lot. by the seaside or in forests or things like that. So that was really good for me. But at the other hand, then I didn't have any friends. My ex-husband, he was working in another city, so he was only home at weekends. So I couldn't get out much. I was really tired to get out, but also I have to take care of my kids alone. So I
You
felt
were
very alone.
you were kind of on your own then. You were on
Yeah,
your own.
I felt I felt I was on my own, and I had this old house and a garden and a dog, two small kids, feeling really isolated. I didn't have any family there or so. So in Sweden, I don't know for you guys, but in Sweden we have kindergarten, so we can. My children were there at daytime, even though I was not working. So thank God for that. So I could rest at daytime. I lay down in my bed for 3 or 4 hours sometimes, just to manage to be able to take care of them in the afternoons and evenings. So that was my life at the time, and I was feeling so emotional, stressed out. But I didn't know that then. But now I can see, oh my God, I was so stressed out. Yeah, and I was not happy at all. And I felt so alone.
Yeah, I could see that. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was what year again? That was the years of
2014, we moved there.
okay.
And during this year, sometimes I got some relief from some, supplements or treatment, or then I got a little relief, I
Short
got
term,
better.
yeah, short term relief.
Short term, and then I got worse again. And then my husband's parents, he moved near us, so then I could get out more. So I started in the church choir, and I started in a book club, and I got some friends. I got more energy from that. So I felt a little bit better, but I was not able to work at all, and I was not feeling good at all. But then 2019, I had a divorce, and then we moved back to Stockholm, the capital of Sweden, where I am now. And I have my family here, and now I moved into an apartment, so I didn't have this house to take care of. And my children also lived at their dad's, maybe 40% of the time. So for the first time, I had a lot of time to take care of myself. I went to retreats, or start doing meditations, and really so now I start feeling a little bit better, more energy, and I was more happy, so my life was better in that way.
So
I
you just
guess,
got back to a place you enjoyed, right? You had more connection, more so
absolutely.
isolated.
Yeah, absolutely. And so but I still had this even though I had more energy for the daily things, like take care of my children or make dinner or things, but I could still not live my life. I still had a lot of fatigue and symptoms. At some point I counted all my symptoms, and at 35 I stopped. And I think I had more than that during all these years. Some symptoms went away, and then another came.
35. It's just good to stop and pause for a minute and think the 35 plus symptoms in your body that really weren't caused by anything in your body, right? So just let that sink in for people watching. People forget how powerful the nervous system and brain is, but that's amazing.
And I thought that all this was I thought the root was some imbalance or something. So I went on this really strict diet. I only ate like vegetables and fruit. And I was so afraid all the time and so scared. And I was thinking about this 24/7. I had to do this really extreme detox, only juicing. But I couldn't do that because I was too weak. So, yeah. But then I started treatment with a machine with ultrasonic waves, So, and I think this, I was in this high alert state. And now I started with this ultrasonic wave. So I think that was a trigger for my nervous system, because I got this vibration inside. You don't feel it, but something like that, because then my brain just went crazy and started to give me so many reactions from foods.
So it
Or I couldn't
actually,
eat.
so it actually got worse. You're saying it got
It
worse?
got worse, yeah. My fatigue was a little bit better, but now I got so many new symptoms connected to what I ate. So, and I couldn't eat anything. I ate cabbage and rice, I think. That's
Wow.
But I still got reactions. I had this rashes, this itches all over my body, or heat flushes, pain going, jumping around, runny nose, this sound in my ear like a sow, all the time. And
Yeah.
so this was really stressful, of course.
Yeah. So it's almost like the condition got associated with the food, right? Because you wanted that extreme diet, and then
Yeah.
it kind of
Yeah,
attacked the diet. It
exactly.
took over in that way. Yeah.
Exactly. She's gonna buy this one. Let's give her a reaction to food, because
Yeah.
she's so
Let's get
scared
her.
of food.
She's trying to fix it with the food. We'll just give
Yeah,
her some TMS around the food now.
yeah, that's so typical. Yeah, yeah. So, and then this was, I think, 2020, and 21. It must be in 21. Thank God, I saw this interview with Rebecca Tolin that I know know. She was telling her story, and I just felt down to cell level. This is it. This is the key I've been looking for all these years. This is it. This is what I got. I just felt a big relief, and I felt happy when I saw that
So you
interview.
just kind of like, again, as some other stories have attested to, you just it like hit so deeply in you that you said
Yeah,
you believe completely, you knew
yeah,
completely at
yeah,
that point because you'd suffered for so long. Yeah.
absolutely. Uh,
Did
and
that
this time,
cause a shift in you right away? Did you get some shift just from that realization or?
I can't recall now, but I think I got some more energy. Yeah. I felt more hopeful and more happy. So I really, really dived into this information now. That's all I did all day long. Watched
What year was
recoveries.
this? Now you said that was 2021, 22?
21, I think it was, or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So I watched so many recovery stories. I've been watching you, big coaches, you, Dan Baglio, Nicole Sachs, Rebecca, Howard Schubiner. My God, I spent so many hours and listening to podcasts, reading books, and I started to work with this program, and I felt so much better. My food reaction went down really fast. Not all of them, of course, but I got a big relief from that, and then I also get some more energy. I started to take longer walks, talking to my brain 24/7.
Yeah, let's highlight that for a minute. When you highlight
Yeah,
some of the strategies, talking to your brain
yeah,
24/7,
yeah,
tell the audience what you did with that. That's like self-talk, right? We call it self.
yeah. Okay, so first I started just to tell my brain that I'm all wealthy. There's nothing wrong going on in my body, and I believed it. I really believed it. And then I started to take longer walks. Before the walk, I was telling my brain, "Okay, Malin, now we're going out for a walk. and there's nothing dangerous at all. I'm not sick, so people walk, and that will be really good for you to take a walk. And don't worry, because I'm not going to put any pressure on you. We can sit down and rest, blah 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 blah, like this before the walk and during the walk. I continued all the time.
So you were
uh,
doing just to highlight for people, because I think people say, yeah, I use self-talk, but oh, I
yeah,
use it like twice a day, You were really invested in using it a lot, it sounds like, to
yeah,
continue to speak to your unconscious or to your limbic brain.
absolutely. that's
Yeah.
that's that's how I do it. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's
I always
important
talk.
because you have such a strong, we all have such a strong drive in that unconscious that
Yeah,
is working 24 hours a day. So you do need to do a lot of self-talk sometimes,
yeah.
especially in the beginning.
And I was so scared of all the activity, because everything I've been told and everything I've been experiencing, when you move too much, when you do something too much, then you're gonna have this really bad crash or something. So I was so scared and thinking about this all the time. How much can I do now? And can I do this? Oh, this will be too much, So I was really, really, my brain was so scared.
Yeah.
So I had to talk all the time.
Yeah, because
Uh,
you were as you were exposing yourself or doing a little bit more, you were using the self-talk as a big tool. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, my biggest tool. And I also started really early, listen to your meditations, your somatic tracking and emotional tracking. And the somatic tracking, I listen maybe for sometimes 4, 5, 6 times a day,
Mm,
because it was really working for me, and my food reactions really went down with this somatic tracking. So I just loved it.
great. Yeah. Okay. So you use your self-talk, somatic tracking. You really got into that too, and that was
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah,
Emotional tracking. So okay, keep going. So what else? So those are helping you. You were doing a little more activity, right? You were getting more active.
yeah. And I was, yeah, I kept on with this, and then I it kind of stopped, or I went to this plateau, or I didn't move forward. And then I took Rebecca Toland's course,
Yes, which
because
by the
I
way is a
really,
fantastic course.
yeah,
Highly,
she's
highly endorse it.
so kind and loving person, and I really wanted to have a coach, and to connect to others, because I was really fed up being my own coach, my own doctor for all these years. So yeah. But the symptoms, at this time when I started the course, I didn't have so much symptoms anymore, but the fatigue was difficult. I didn't really know how to deal with the fatigue. When I went out, for coffee or something like that, I could feel really okay. But then I was home, I had this fatigue again.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a little bit tricky for me. And I think the turning point really came when I started to work out at the gym.
So you
Uh,
started to challenge yourself more strongly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I did feel, I felt kind of powerless in my body, in my muscles. I didn't feel at all that I could go to the gym. So this was frustrating. I started to watch YouTube videos on women working out, just to inspire my brain. I'm
Okay.
working out. I'm doing this. I can do this. So I did that for weeks, and
Because
then
you
my
had
son.
never worked, well, you were working out, you used to work out in the gym when you were younger, is that right? Before all
Yeah,
this
not
happened?
not lifting weights, but
Okay.
other things. Yeah.
Okay.
But now I watch videos, women's lifting weights, and I
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
really inspired from that. And then my son really wanted to started to work out at the gym, and he was too young to go there by himself. So I had to go with him. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to be at the gym, so why don't just I could try. And I remember the first time I was not feeling good at all. I was feeling dizzy, and I felt sick, and I was telling my brain before, we're just going to the gym. We can sit there, watch the others. I'm not going to press you at all. But we're going to the gym from now, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. So, like I was speaking to my brain like a child, kind but firm.
Yeah, so
We're
I
doing
think it's
it
important too
now.
to highlight that you were kind, compassionate, but you were firm. I think the firmness is really important too, that some people
Yeah,
are their self-talk might be too accepting or soft,
yeah,
and sometimes it's not as effective. But that firmness is your empowerment, right? Like we're going
yeah,
to the gym, like
yeah.
more of saying,
Exactly.
here's we're taking control, right? You're taking control, like
Yeah.
we're going here.
I'm not gonna give in because of the symptoms, or like a child who is starting school scared. You are going to school today, and I know you're scared, but we're doing this.
Right, exactly,
That kind.
exactly. So even if you had symptoms, you were going anyway, and you
Yeah.
didn't let. And by the way, did you on some days have symptoms when you went to the gym? Did you have symptoms stirring up or acting up at all?
No, 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 not at the time when I was at the gym. The first time uh, um, I went and I warm up, and I started to walk at the treadmill, or what do you call it? Just walking. And then I tried. So then I sat in a machine and tried, doing this or whatever. And then just magic happened, because I was. It was like everything was pausing, and I thought, oh my god, oh my god, I can do this. I can totally do this.
Hmm.
I can do this for hours. I feel so normal. What is going on? I feel
So,
so,
so it's almost like that allowed you to realize you were okay, that
yeah,
that you could do these heavier exercises and
yeah.
be all right. Yeah.
My brain really loved those machines. They It really calmed it down. And when that afternoon when I came home, I was feeling so much energy. I was feeling so good. So after that, I just love going to the gym, and I still do.
Mhm. Yeah. So in a way, that was another thing you enjoyed, and you had purpose and passion,
Yeah,
and then also it served just to show you, wow, how capable you were, and that you could do it, and it makes you stronger. Like literally, I think that empowerment
yeah,
piece about building muscles makes us feel stronger, which is a lot of times what we need as a
absolutely.
TMS personality. We need to be stronger.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's really good.
and we need some oxygen in the muscles. You have to move, and you feel better when you do that.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
really experienced that, and I feel empowered, too.
empowered. Yeah. Now, okay,
Yeah,
so you started, so you did that. So you were going back to the gym. You did Rebecca's course,
yeah.
and did you do any other strategies from her course that were helpful for you?
Self compassion. Oh my God, that's a really big thing for me. I didn't have any self compassion at all before. I was always pressuring myself. Uh, Never checked in with myself. How am I feeling? Is this okay? I never allow myself to be scared or something like that. So that was a really big thing for me, to be self compassion. And I also started to work more with my personality traits, and feel my emotions. I did all the work.
Did
I
all the
did
work.
all.
Yeah. And talk
Yeah,
about your emotions about that category.
yeah.
What did you do for that with them on the emotional side?
And I did emotional tracking, just being with my emotion, and all sorts of things. I journal speak
Yeah.
was also a big part in the beginning. I did journal speak for every day for 2 months.
Okay, good. So you did some of
And
that,
there
and then
was
you,
so much
yeah,
coming out.
yeah. Okay. So you're highlighting the fact that you used the, many Mindbody tools, which is
Yeah,
helpful for people to hear that you just used a lot of, you did. To me, I'm hearing
absolutely.
self-talk, I'm hearing graded exposure,
Yeah.
hearing, somatic tracking, emotional tracking, journaling.
Mm.
Yeah.
And but I also have to say that when I started to take longer walks, then I got more energy, so that was working out for me. But then my brain started to give me this really bad pain in my foot,
Okay,
in
so
my boat.
symptom, it was like a symptom imperative, we would call that.
Yeah. For 2 months, it went like crazy. Oh my God. And at one point, I started to laugh really because, you know, I was
Yeah.
going on a walk and I had this pain going on in my legs, in my foot, in my knees, like a, you know, like a ping pong, you know, it was just jumping around. And then I started to laugh. I mean, oh my God, how can the brain do this? I can't believe it.
Yeah,
But it was so
it's truly
obvious.
incredible. And I mean, I talk to so many people and I see it in the people I work with,
Mm,
how the brain can shift it like that. And you know, it's if you didn't do this work, you would not know that. I mean, it's hard to even recognize people that
yeah.
this is, you know, TMS and it's their brain. And then when it does something like that, it's incredible how it can give you a completely
Incredible.
different symptom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And when I start running outdoors, then I got this really bad pain under my foot. And at one point, I could hardly go out, take a walk. So I just have to take a pause from that, you know, talking to my brain. Okay, accept accept this now, but we take a rest and then we are going to continue with that. I know it's only you, the brain, you know, talk like
Yeah.
that. Uh,
That's important too, that you didn't let it push you back
no.
too far. Yeah.
And then at one point I got this pain in my heart, and then I got a little bit scared. But I knew it was TMS, but it continued. So then I planned to go to see a doctor, of course, check it out, just to calm my brain. But then I started to get the same pain in the other at the other side, in the whole chest.
Unbelievable.
So
It's
then I
almost
just
like it's, yeah, it does. I tell people it's like a something in you doesn't want to die. It's got 9 lives. It's like a
yeah.
it,
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like talking to the brain, like, that was a big mistake. You know, now I really know that this
now
is
you
sad.
know that that's the right. That's exactly how I think of it. Game of poker. Well, you showed your card.
Yeah,
You should have
exactly.
never have done that because
That
now we know exactly what this is. You made a
that
big,
was stupid of you.
yeah, exactly. I've said that to my brain. Well, yeah, that was a stupid move because now I know what you are now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, so I mean it was going a little bit forth and back, of course. And my worst the last thing I got rid of and that I could still have a little bit of still is the colds, you know. So sometimes, of course, it is a virus or a cold, of course, but then my brain gets stuck really fast.
Yeah.
So then I developed this thing that I give it a week or two, and if it's not better, then I'm going to the gym. Okay, enough
Mhm.
now. Now we're going to the gym. Uh, and if it's TMS, then it's you know I feel good after working out.
So most of the, would you say that a large percentage of the time it was TMS, a TMS cold that you just went
Yeah,
back
I
to the
think
gym?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
I think it's important. A lot of people don't realize you can get colds, you know, these things, and you think, oh, that's a cold. And I have some people now with this where it's not really a true
No,
cold.
no, no. During these years, I had it felt like a cold all the time. Uh, and now you know sometimes my children had a cold, so okay, maybe this is a cold, but the cold is not going on for like 4 weeks. No,
Oh,
no, no. So my brain really gets stuck on these things. I know that now, and for maybe 80% of the time it's not a cold at all.
yeah. Yeah,
It's
good.
my brain.
So you started again challenging it, which
Yeah,
again is a key word I use for people. Once you realize it's TMS, it's again for those of you who have never heard of it, TMS is Dr. Sarno's term for tension myositis syndrome. We call it psychophysiologic disorder. There's lots of terms now, you know, neural circuit
yeah,
disorder, somatoform disorder, nervous system dysregulation, all this stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, so you started to basically get your confidence back.
Yeah, and I think it's very important not to put any pressure on your brain, not to know. You have to be really kind all the time, firm but kind, not like I'm doing this, shut up, or not, nothing
Yeah,
like that
not
at all.
forcing, right? Pushing or
Yeah,
forcing, I think is
exactly. Do not force, please. Don't do that, because that will really freak out your brain, scare your
yeah.
brain.
Or forcing is like fighting, that's the
Yeah,
fight, flight, freeze. You're going into, you came out of freeze, right? But if you go
yeah,
into fight, it's just another
yeah.
branch of that system you don't want to go into too much.
And I have this, I have this history of always fighting myself, always forcing myself. So my brain don't like that at all. No, no.
Yeah, it'll push back
Uh,
on you.
a couple of weeks ago, I went to the gym and and I thought, oh, I could take this, this high intense, oh, what do you call it? In group training, because it was only 30 minutes. So I thought that's great. That will be great. Then I could work through my body in 30 minutes in high intense. Uh, and that my brain really didn't like that, because I felt like I'm gonna faint. I had to go out. I couldn't do it.
Okay, so
So
it triggered you pretty strongly. So how did you handle it then?
I just went out and I promised the brain, okay, we're not going. You don't like this, because I put so much pressure on myself all my life, and before I started to get these symptoms when I was when I was younger, I used to go to the gym, and I worked out so hard, so I sometimes have go out and sometimes I fainted, so my brain really don't like this. And I think
Yeah.
this is a gift for me now, because that's not a good thing for me to do, to
Yeah,
force
and
myself.
in a way, it's well, I might rephrase it for you because
Yeah,
it's not on, logically, it's not a bad thing, but your brain has interpreted that way based on
yeah,
what your past experience. So it
exactly.
draws off that and unconsciously just gives you that. So
Yeah,
at some point, with the tools you're already using, you could go back to that if you wanted to
yeah, yeah.
teach yourself that.
My brain don't trust me 100% now, so it takes some time, I think.
It takes time. Oh yeah, it takes time.
Yeah,
That's fast
yeah,
brain. It's gonna react first, and
yeah,
then we have to we come in second and to try to figure out what's going on.
yeah. But now I also think it's a little bit of a gift, because I don't want to go back to this strong personality type. I want to be a person who, stops and feel my emotions. Or is this feeling good for me? Or
Yeah.
because I really love going to the gym and, do it slow and not put any pressure on myself. So I think
Yeah, I
that's
think
better for
that's
me
the
right now.
key. Yeah, like and maybe you can talk more about that. That I know for me, my recovery and coming out, you come out of it a different person. You might even go back to doing things that you did before, but in a different way on the inside.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I always have to have this nice voice in my head.
Yeah.
Um,
To
yeah,
self-compassion. Yeah. I think that's really important because you get yourself back in trouble again if you go back the same way as before, pushing and forcing and overdoing it.
and I think that's the thing I learned most from Rebecca's course. For me, it was the biggest thing was this self-compassion, because I never had any self-compassion at all. So, and that's why I talk to my clients all the time. You have to have self-compassion, because that's like the salt in the food.
Yeah.
You can have all these great ingredients, but if you don't have any salt, I mean, it's not going to taste anything.
Yeah, no, it's so important. It's a critical ingredient to bake a cake, to put
Yeah.
the salt in there to otherwise, yeah, that's part of the pattern. We're so hard and self-critical. And so
I
okay, so
mean, it's
no, go ahead.
there's no point doing gradual exposure and talk calmly to your brain, and then the other time in your life, you're just speaking really bad to your brain and
Yeah.
critical.
Yeah.
I mean,
Critical. I mean, in a sense, if you really boil it down, I tell people, look, when you do that, what you're doing is dumping anger directly into your own system
Yeah.
through that. And when you understand it, you go, oh wow, I don't want to do that anymore. Why would I
Mm,
want to stab myself? It makes no sense. But that's what
no,
we've learned to do from
absolutely.
childhood and so forth. So okay, so you've had a pretty quick, I mean, you had so many years of these symptoms
Yeah.
in a matter of what, a couple of years,
Mm,
you've turned
yeah.
it around a lot, big time, right? From where you were.
Absolutely. And I was really encouraged by Rebecca's story. She was in a really bad shape and she was recovering kind of fast. So I was,
Yeah,
yeah,
she had an amazing. I worked with Rebecca. That
yeah,
was pre COVID, so I would see her in her. We would get together in person, which seems so weird now because everything's on Zoom.
yeah,
But I do work with her in person, and yeah, she had such a amazing recovery, and obviously gone on to do the work too she's done in helping so many people. It's just awesome to see.
yeah, it's awesome. Yeah,
Well, what is so leading up? So let's take that as thing for what you're doing now, because you've in a way transformed yourself, and now you're wanting to give back in a way to help people. So what are you doing now as a result of your own recovery?
when I was feeling so much better, I took Howard Schubener's course for practitioners. Uh, so now I'm a Mindbody coach, and I have courses and I'm coaching in this field. So I love doing this, and I try to spread the word as much as I can do. I started this summer. I had my first course in July, and and that's also helped me when I started Howard's course, and I started to think about this. I started a Facebook group. I did my story and loaded up on YouTube, and all these things all also helped my recovery
Yes,
because I was doing something that felt so meaningful for me and joyful and helping others, and so that's so
absolutely.
important too.
Yeah. So are you with your coaching, are you sort of specializing in ME, CFS type?
That just happened, that's I don't specialize in that, but that's most of my clients have ME or post-COVID or similar conditions like
Yeah,
that.
post-viral. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, good, good. And that's great. So I always tell people we need more people doing this work because it's such a small number of people really doing this type of work. And it
yeah. And
really,
I mean, for me, when I found this, when I found Rebecca, in Sweden, I don't know, and I never found anything in Swedish here. And my goal is to help people in Swedish, so they don't have to do the things because when you're so tired with brain fog, it could be difficult to listen to English because you have translated in your head, and you get really a lot of energy going for.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And actually, I give credit because I do work with a number of people from Sweden and that,
okay.
yeah, that have come to me various things because I think there isn't a lot of resources in your country,
No,
but
not at all.
I agree with you about when you don't have a language thing, it's easier for the person to probably
Yeah,
take it in and relax a little bit more.
yeah.
So that's fantastic. So that's fantastic you're doing that. And so you've had this recovery and yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? To go.
Absolutely, and it's so amazing see your other people, getting better. I mean, nothing could be more satisfying than that. I think
Yeah.
you can agree with
Yeah.
me on that.
Yeah. Yeah. So what words before we finish, what would you say to other people who are still struggling? Always like to get, what would you tell them?
Don't give up. Don't give up. It can take time, and it's different from different people. So just because you're going back a little bit, it doesn't mean that you're getting that this is not working. Actually, it's the evidence that it's absolutely working because now your brain are getting more scared and give you more symptoms and other symptoms.
Yeah,
That's happened to me, and that happens to my clients. I see it all the time. So don't
absolutely.
give up. and watch a lot of recovery stories. That was really helpful for me, because my brain, for me, a recovery story, I still watch them because it's like, you know, this feel-good movie with Meg Ryan or something for my brain. You know, it's all, you know, it's so wonderful to hear these stories.
Yeah, we need that. We need optimism. We need positive messaging. And like you said, you infused your brain with that either through your self-talk or through watching success stories, reading. So I feel like the brain needs us so much of that to finally know it's safe, to know it's okay, so it can relax and not give us the stuff it's giving us. So that's
And I think
fantastic.
it's also very important to have to start with some routines and discipline. I mean, I started every morning with watching stand-up comedy or something like that. No news at all, nothing like that, nothing stressful, no action movies or anything. No, I didn't listen to people talking about how bad things are. Just, you know, this feel-good movies, Christmas movies that we can see now, you know.
That's
That's
great. That's a
really
good point. I
important.
like that, that you, again, you deliberately, consciously chose positive, uplifting things, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
every morning, this
Every morning.
routine.
That's a great way to start the day because a lot of people,
Yeah,
I think, start the day with this dread and anxiety and
yeah,
another day, right? And oh no, you know, all the negativity. So that's really that's a nice point you made there. I haven't
yeah.
heard that said before, but I think that's a
Start
good.
your mornings with laughters instead of scare yourself.
Yeah, instead of worry about the whole day. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's going to be
yeah,
an okay day. Let's lighten up a bit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your story. Do you have if people want to learn more about your work, do you have a website, something like
My
that?
website is under construction, but I have a YouTube channel,
Okay.
and I also you can find me in Instagram or Facebook, and it's Mindbody Coach Chen. It's a Swinglish word.
Okay, maybe
Mindbody
send me,
Coach.
you can email me that and I
Yeah,
will put it
yeah.
into the
Because I also had this Facebook group, so you can join there and in the community. So
Okay, great. It's wonderful. And
yeah,
I'm really happy you're doing this work now too, like Rebecca. And it's just like I always tell people, it's like you're lighting a torch and then you're passing it to other people and it just keeps growing.
yeah.
So it's wonderful
Thank
to
you so much for your work, Jim. Me and my clients, my viewers really like your videos, and we love your meditations.
thank you.
So thank
Thank
you
you.
for that.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. All right. Well, take care of yourself. Keep up the good work and we'll see you down the road at some point.
Yeah.